I've talked to attorneys where, while you're going through this, you have to get a check on your emotions, but no one tells you how, which I think is very insulting. And this is traumatic, so it's kind of like you have to, and I always, talk about, psychopaths, sociopaths, and narcissists. Narcissists do a lot of acting, but especially psychopaths and sociopaths, they show no emotion.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking isn't that a red flag?
It should be. But let me go back to the attorney thing here.
Yes.
Because the attorneys make money off of it regardless.
Right.
That's why we have this organization called the Texas Family Law Foundation. It sounds like such a respectable organization, the Texas Family Law Foundation. We care about family law. There was a testimony in February of 2017, then President Joelle Cannon Sheridan, she got up in front of the House committee and said that they were most proud of their role as the lobbying arm for the Texas State Bar Family Law Department.
Okay.
What do lobbyists do? They look out for the financial interests of their clients.
Yes.
So, and I have letters from the Texas Family Law Foundation in which they were talking about how they successfully defeated some of these bills. They're looking out for their attorney friends. They're looking out, how can we continue to pretend that we're such a respectful organization while we're tearing apart families? And the question that I always have is, why do they have almost, the representatives go to the Texas Family Law Foundation and ask them for advice? Now, if we had a health committee, would we go to the cigarette company and say, please tell us why cigarette smoking is healthy for you? And they say, well, cigarette smoking is good for you.
Nicotinic acid, which is nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's why.
It's good. We need to have more cigarette smoking. But you have divorce attorneys saying, well, we can't go back to the dark ages and get rid of no-fault divorce. Really what they're trying to do is go back to the age of Vladimir Lenin and Bolshevik Russia. They aren't going back, they're lying to people.
Well, you brought up a really interesting point that once that was changed, the abortion rate went up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is really telling, because let's say, perfect world, all of this happens, okay? All these changes happen. We put these laws in place to minimize the abuse of the system. Marriage rates, my mind, devil's advocate, marriage rates are going to go out.
They have.
They already have, yeah.
And so I see more kids being born out of wedlock, and not just because I see it in my community, but I will see it, I would expect to see it even more across the board, because I don't want to deal with that, or I'm pressuring. And for all my people that are pro-life or anti-abortion, let's get a grip. I'm sorry. It's seemingly that this kind of situation is what is promoting we have a great relationship, whatever, we're having a good time, and we start dating heavily and whatnot, and for whatever reason, I become pregnant. And so now you're looking at me like, okay, this is a liability.
Mm-hmm.
And you start pressuring me to have an abortion.
Mm-hmm. So you're being victimized by me, or maybe you're being victimized out of poverty. Or maybe you just say, hey, you know what, it's a nice alternative form of birth control. I've had 20 abortions already, or 15 or 10 or whatever.
Or you're saying, okay, yeah, let's say we're evenly yoked financially. Mm-hmm. And I just say, you know what, Jeff, it's okay. I can take care financially on my own. Cut your ties, whatever. You have the option, be in a kid's life or not. I'll leave it up to you. Mm-hmm. But you still, in your mind, go, this is still a freaking liability. Mm-hmm. So then you decide you're going to file for custody and do that whole cycle with trying to destroy me, so you're not having to pay child support because you know you don't believe that I'm just going to say I got this.
Right.
I think really the saddest part of all of this, and Jeff puts it really well when he says marriage is for children and divorce is for adults, to put the children before the adults. That's his thing, and I love that. Yes. But really, I mean, those are the very people getting lost in all of this, are the kids. They're the
Yes.
ones who are terrified to speak one way or another.
Right.
And they're the ones that are going to be just
Punished and traumatized throughout all of
yes.
this.
And they're the ones that can't stand up before the judge most
And
of the
speak.
time, and it's probably better that they don't, and in a way that it's traumatizing for them to do that unless it's a severe case. But they're the ones that are the losing party in all of this, and so to go back to your question of, what can we do?
Yes.
I think part of it is, as adults, like you said, if we're going to do what we want to do, then we have to grow up. We have to grow up and be adults.
I've said it to you. I've said it.
And
Yes.
remember what it was like when we were kids. We were kids, and some people can't relate to that situation. That wasn't their story growing up, and praise the Lord for that, because they didn't go through that situation. But
Right.
there are enough of us out there who can say, you don't want to put your kids through that.
It stops with me.
It stops, yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And so that's why, we need to not only keep fighting for it, it's really for the people who can't speak for themselves, and that's for the kids.
Okay, so I do want to make sure that anyone who has questions after the show, if you're joining in online, please send them to me, because if you want to be involved in the efforts to make changes here, because we create them. The adults make the conscious decision, and I was taught that if I can't deal with the consequences, don't take the action. So if I'm gonna do the horizontal mambo, make sure that this is somebody I want to deal with for the rest of my life. And I'm sorry, I'm picking on you.
No.
Well,
I will say this. I will say this. At least I'm a guy.
Right. So if this is, if I'm willing to do this act, am I willing to deal with this person for 18 plus years, good, bad, or indifferent? Because it is a maturity thing.
It is.
It is.
If I'm going to stand here and say, hey, let's do what's right, the best thing for the kids. Yes, it would be nice if all of us played, like adults and didn't act like our shoe size. To quote Prince, under the cherry moon.
But wait a minute, I think you are insulting the younger generation by saying that. Because
No.
No, I'm saying the age thing.
Oh,
Because
yes.
they're, it's like when somebody compares the government to a drunken sailor, and well, the drunken sailor is actually spending his own money.
Yes.
A child is maybe appropriate at that age. I think it's worse than that. It's complete irresponsibility. A child often wants to please.
Yes.
And when it doesn't happen, you go back to divorce. The trauma associated with divorce and family separation, and my friend Vanita over here is outstanding on this topic. It can permanently set that child at a stunted growth from that point on. And we think,
usually that's when we have some type of personality disorder. And I'm gonna get some experts on here to talk about this, because my exposure to narcissism, it is eye-opening. And some of those suckers will do everything it takes to make sure that you die, even if it's a literal death or a figurative death. So those shows are coming, and sometimes I'm slow, but I'm out there working for you guys.